You're listening to the Intuitive Souls podcast. I am your host, Erica Russo, and this podcast is designed to educate, inspire, and enlighten. Let's wake up together. Hey guys, and welcome to the Intuitive Souls podcast. I'm your host, Erica, and I am a lover of all things woo-woo, and I am your host as we talk about everything under the spirituality spectrum. I talk about mediumship, shamanism, crystals, essential oils, you name it, I talk about it. And I have amazing guests that come on and speak their truth and give amazing value and advice. So I am so glad that you're here. Thanks for coming. So in this week, well, first let me say I am so grateful for all of the amazing reviews that I'm getting on iTunes review. I really, really appreciate it. It makes my heart so happy. And I really just want to thank you. Thank every single one of you that are taking the time out of your busy lives to write a kind review. It is very much appreciated. And I love that you guys are helping me get this out there. So this information is available to anyone who wants it. So every week I pull an oracle card. I choose a crystal of the week, and then I also choose an essential oil of the week. And this week, I pulled an oracle card from the Oracle of Shadows and Light deck by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is by Jasmine Beckett-Griffith. I love Lucy Cavendish's work. She has a couple of beautiful decks, and the artwork's amazing. So I pulled the Fairy of the Divine Hand, and that is about intoxication, distorted view, and overindulgence. And let me go, because I had the card open, but then the little booklet closed. So the message is stop right now. Your intuition, your inner sight, and clear vision is sending you a very clear warning. A red flag has just gone up. It is time for you to stop, to look, and to listen before going forward. Your higher self, your clear sight, wants you to stop and think before simply taking this wonderful temptation someone is offering you. It may be in the form of a secret relationship, junk food, alcohol at a party, sex before you're ready, or behaving in ways that are unsafe and disrespectful. Whew, that is the message if I ever heard one. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. Temptation is a part of life. We all deal with it, either if it's, eating another cupcake or, flirting with someone that you know is bad for you. Temptation is really hard, so just stick to your guns, trust your intuition, and, try to walk away from any sort of temptation. So the crystal of the week is kyanite. And kyanite is excellent for attunement and meditation. It is tranquilizing and a powerful transmitter and amplifier of high-frequency energies, stimulating psychic abilities and the intuition. This crystal connects to spirit guides and instills compassion, grounding spiritual vibrations. It brings spiritual integrity and mature thinking. That's good for this card. I love when I can put two and two together, guys. So it facilitates dream recall and promotes healing dreams. Kyanite is helpful for those making the transition through death. So this might be a good card if the oracle card, you feel like the oracle card is for you. So go grab some kyanite, guys. The essential oil. So the essential oil, I just kind of started using this oil. It is patchouli, and I really, really like it. I'm enjoying it. I usually put it in my diffuser, but patchouli is fantastic for imparting its warm, complex fragrance to both mind and body. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Its antifungal properties make an excellent treatment for athlete's foot, jock itch, and ringworm. And it's, I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry for laughing, but we're talking about jock itch and ringworm. I'm sorry that this is coming up and I'm laughing about it, but this is a very informative book. So, it's just decongestive properties make it a good oil for diffusing during cold and flu season. Patchouli also happens to be one of the best natural insect repellents there is, making it ideal for use in a homemade bug spray. I know somebody that does patchouli and citronella oil in a bug spray, and she swears by it. So yeah, if you have ringworm, oh my gosh, if you have ringworm or jock itch, go ahead, go get yourself some patchouli. I'm sorry for laughing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this week's guest is Syndi Bautista. She was actually on a while ago. She was actually, I believe, the 3rd episode, and we talked all about tarot because we're both tarot nerds. And this time I asked her to come on and talk about her mediumship journey, because she won't say that she's a great medium, but she is a really excellent medium. She really takes it seriously. She invests in wonderful workshops, and I can't say enough nice things about her. So we really just kind of talked about how she really learned to trust her intuition, and things that happened in her life that was kind of like, okay, like, now I need to figure out what is going on and if I'm psychic and, just, the next step. So please take a listen. Again, she is Syndi Bautista. She is the owner of Candela Hypnosis and Psychic Services. She is located in New Hampshire, but she is on Facebook, and I will leave all of her information, her group, her business page in the show notes if you're interested in checking her out. She does go live every Thursday with free card readings, so if you're interested, definitely give her a like. She's wonderful, guys. So I will let you guys listen, and I will talk to you soon. Syndi, thank you so much for coming back on the show today. Can you tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey?
Hi, Erica. Thanks for inviting me back. I'm so excited to be here again with you. My spiritual journey has been, up and down. I have I don't know, like, you question yourself. I guess I should probably tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Syndi Bautista. I have a hypnosis and psychic services office in Hollis, New Hampshire. And I started with hypnosis and slowly added little other components with, tarot card readings and psychic services such as mediumship, psychometry, and those sort of things. But I, as a very young child, had a lot of things happen. Like, I would feel like something was going to happen, or I would just know that something was going to happen. And I would discount it, like not pay attention to it so much. And, but as I got older, I started really not being able to ignore that anymore. Like, for example, one time I arrived to pick up my son from childcare, and something told me not to go in yet. Like, I turned around, I was walking away from my car, and my car was a brand new car. I only had not even 3,000 miles on it. And I turned around like maybe 6 steps away, and I looked at my car, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't go in right now. But I'm like, oh, I'm just going to run right in and I'll be right back out. I wasn't in the daycare less than maybe 5 minutes, and I came out and my tires had been slashed on my car.
Oh my gosh.
That's one of those oh my gosh moments when you know that you cannot ignore this stuff anymore. And I was like, all of the past things that I was able to ignore, now I can't ignore it anymore. It's like, yeah, this stuff is real now. So that was my defining moment, I think, that changed my life. So yeah.
Yeah.
Then,
it's just so funny you say that, because I feel like so many of us, empaths, psychics, whatever, we all, for like, how many years have you just dismissed all that stuff?
Like years.
My gosh, right? That particular incident was 23 years ago, and I'm 50.
Wow.
So I had ignored it up until then.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I couldn't. I just, at that moment, I could not anymore.
Right. So was it like it was at that moment that you kind of opened up to spirit, or like realized that you had some sort of claircognizance?
Yeah. So it was at that moment when I realized I couldn't ignore it anymore. But prior to that, I was on a camping trip with my husband and my kids, and we were invited to join some other people, like at a dinner, potluck.
Mm-hmm.
So we went over, and this elderly gentleman asked my husband if it would be okay if he sat next to me. And I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. And then he started talking to me, and he told me that I had all these abilities that I was ignoring, and that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to pay attention to it. And because these are gifts that I'm given, that I can help other people. And he went on, and he said, you're not helping other people, and you're not even helping yourself, and you can do this, and stop ignoring it. And other psychics had told me that too, but I just wasn't paying attention. So yeah, it really started adding up. And then that tire slashing was the moment when I said, you know what, I need to open up, and I need to start paying better attention. Because I also had an incident where my heart just felt like it was pounding I was in bed one night, and my heart was pounding out of my chest. And then maybe a half hour later, I got a phone call that somebody I knew had been arrested and needed to get bailed out. So it was like, yeah, my heart was pounding out because I knew something was going on somewhere. But yeah, little things like that I hadn't been paying attention to, but I do now. I try to.
Yeah. So every person, every medium is different, and, we all get our information in different ways. What are your strongest psychic portals and some of the signs and symbols you receive that have a meaning to them?
Okay. So I use all of my clairs, but my strongest is the claircognizance. I just know,
Mm-hmm.
And the clairsentience, obviously the feeling when I got that heart pounding thing, or I get like tingles or pressures in different areas. Like, for example, if I'm doing a mediumship reading and somebody had passed away from difficulty breathing, I actually can feel that, or, different things like that. Or if they had a leg injury, then I can get that feeling in my leg, and I'll start rubbing my leg. So I know that it had to do with that area of the body, but mostly it's the claircognizance. I just know,
Yeah.
I think the one that I need the most work on would be the clairaudience. Even though I do sometimes hear like music or something like that, it's not the main thing by far. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty claircognizant too, and I really struggle with it, believe it or not, because I'm still very much a very logical person, and I'm very in my head and everything like that. And when I first started off, I was very clairvoyant, right? I would see like vivid pictures in my mind's eye to the point where I can show the whole story through my clairvoyance. And then all of a sudden, as I started developing, it went into more claircognizance. And I remember in one reading, it was a mediumship reading, and I connected to someone's father, but I couldn't see what he looked like. And usually that's my first indication.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. I was really freaking out because it was I don't know why I don't know why, I know this stuff. I don't know what's going on. And it's really just your psychic and mediumship skills developing over time. And it comes, and that's what I realized with me is as far as the claircognizance is concerned, do you get do you just learn to trust it?
You have to trust it, Erica.
Yeah.
That was one of my bits of advice. I'll get back into that later on, but you have to trust that the messages you're receiving are true and accurate.
Right.
And, I mean, it's for everybody's good. And if you don't trust it, they're not going to give you messages. You have to
Right.
trust these spirits. And I want to get back to the part about the clairvoyance and the seeing. It's funny that you said that's how you began, because that's exactly how I began with mediumship.
Mm-hmm.
Not the psychic piece, but the mediumship. And, like you have these moments in life that indicate a connection with spirit. And I was on vacation in the Dominican Republic, and I was sleeping, or I thought I was sleeping anyway. And all of a sudden I was getting visions of these heads, just heads, faces, heads. I didn't know any of them, but they were just like floating by in my face. And it scared the daylights out of me. I'm like, why am I seeing like heads? It wasn't the whole body or anything. And it started then. And then when I came home, it happened more, but I was seeing like heads and shoulders. I started seeing more people that I didn't know. And then I started asking for, like I started asking for signs, and I'm like, if this, I need some signs. I need people that I know. I need to know that I shouldn't be scared with this, because I'm petrified right now. Like, I'm like, why am I seeing all these things and, whatever. And so when I asked for a sign, my grandmother came through. Now I'm seeing full body. I'm seeing my grandmother fully dressed and all fixed up, and she comes in and she starts talking to me, and I feel like I'm dreaming. And then she brings my dad, and my dad brings in another family member. Before you knew it, we had this whole family reunion, and everybody I knew that had ever passed away was at this party, to prove to me there's life after death, and we can communicate. And so I was no longer scared, That's what happened for me. So
yeah, that's like, it's so funny, because that was like, I used to get, I don't even call them dreams, because they were not dreams. They were visitations when I was sleeping. I've had 4 of them. And this was when I was in my younger, I was in my teens and my early 20s. And it was to the point where I would wake up at like 2:00 in the morning in a cold sweat after a visitation. And it felt so real. It felt absolutely so real that I had to like go to Google and make sure that this person actually passed. And that happened to me 4 times. And I hear so many mediums start with dreams. So many mediums,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the way that you call that visitations, because like I said, I felt like I was dreaming, but I don't think I was dreaming,
Right.
So visitations definitely sounds appropriate.
Yeah, I don't call that, because a lot of people will like think that it's like a vivid dream, and it's like, no, honey, that's a visitation. I felt the person that passed was my grandfather, and the way he came through was like just how I remember him in his house. It was so vivid that I couldn't, I was really freaked out afterwards. I really was, because I remember my husband looked at me when we woke up the next morning, and he was like, "You look like you've seen a ghost." And I was like,
Yes.
I did.
For real, I did.
Yeah.
It's extremely vivid. Like I said, my grandmother in that visitation, I'll call it a visitation because that's exactly what it was. She was all dressed up to the nines. I could even smell her perfume.
Wow.
It was amazing. But for me, it was a relief, because I asked for that. Although I never imagined I'd have a whole family reunion. I just thought my grandmother would come through, or one person anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are 3 things that are in your toolbox, or your mediumship or psychic toolbox, that help you?
Okay. So in my toolbox, I have like a lot of air purifiers, or things that clear out negative energy. In my toolbox, I have selenite. Obviously, I keep my selenite everywhere. I have it everywhere. I have camphor, which is, I actually have 3 different types of camphor. I have these white cubes that you put them in water, or you can burn them, or you can just leave them out. And I also have incense. And then I have also like it's almost like a Vicks rub, but it's camphor. And so you can put that on your skin. And I love that, obviously, or I wouldn't have 3 different types of it. And then I have sage. And so sage is my main thing, I think, for burning to cleanse the air.
So what is camphor for anyone who is listening?
Camphor is used in Indian rituals. It's also medicinal as well. So, you have essential oils. It could kind of compare to that. Okay. And I bought it online. Spanish people call it alcamphor, but it's called camphor in India. And it's used to purify the air and get rid of negative energy. It's often used in rituals for them.
Oh, okay. See, I have frankincense that I use, and then I'm a big incense person. Sage, obviously, Palo Santo is
I love Palo Santo.
Yeah, that one smells really good.
Yes. Yeah. I do love the scent for camphor, but it's more. It has sort of like that Vicks menthol.
Okay.
It also can get rid of mosquitoes, so it's got a great use for it.
Yeah, definitely. So, if you can give 3 words of advice to anyone listening that is developing their own mediumship or their own psychic skills, what advice would you give them?
Okay. I'll give you 3 words, and then I'm going to tell you why I chose those 3 words.
Okay.
Trust, listen, and tell. Trust that the messages you're receiving are accurate and true. So trust your spirit that you're working with. Listen with all of your senses. Be open, because what sense you're using today may be different from a sense you use tomorrow, as we've seen, as we develop. The more open we are, the better we develop. Mm-hmm. Tell what you get. You may not understand the message, but the person receiving it may very well understand it. And if they don't understand it at the moment, they'll understand it later. So tell what you get. Trust, listen, and tell.
That's perfect. That really is so perfect. And I can't tell you enough. That's so funny, because I had a reading last week, and we were in the mediumship part of the reading, and then in my clairvoyance, all I saw, and I know this is gross, guys, but all I saw was a hawk on the road eating roadkill. And it was not leaving. Like, you know what I mean? When you're getting a message and it will just not leave you until you say something. And I was like, I have to talk about this. So I just said, I don't know what this means, but I am seeing a hawk on a road eating roadkill. And the woman says, I just drove past a hawk eating roadkill while I was talking to my dad to tell him to come through.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So, you have to you're going to sound crazy, and it's going, some of the stuff really isn't going to make sense with what, the reading is, but you just have to trust it and just give it out, because it really is, the spirit is real. It is so real, and we just have to trust it. And we are, we just have to be there and give what we get. And that's what a job as a medium is just, we have to, whatever we get, we just have to get. We are just kind of that tunnel, so.
Right. So I like to call us interpreters.
Yes.
We're interpreting the message. Sometimes it doesn't quite come out exactly like Spirit would like us to deliver it, but we get the point across,
Right.
And if we don't trust them, they'll stop coming to us.
Right.
And so I guess we work for them. If the sitter is saying no, but Spirit's telling us yes, we need to trust Spirit over the sitter. Right. Because they may not understand the message right now, but after they think about it, or something will come up later that, like they'll be talking to a cousin and the message was actually meant for the cousin, right. So we have to trust Spirit.
Yeah, no, that's definitely That, and I feel like so many, developing mediums, when you're first starting out, like, you question everything you get. And that's when you kind of block yourself off. You block that connection off to spirit, and then you start getting into your thinking mind. So it really is, you just kind of have to, even if you get a no, and that's my biggest thing is like, who doesn't, when we're developing evidential mediumship, when we hear a no, it's like, oh my gosh, like,
right.
it's
right.
horrible, but it doesn't, we have to understand. And I was watching a documentary, and I loved how this medium explained what a mediumship reading is. And what he said was, it's basically a 500 count puzzle thrown at us, and we have to put, it's basically, we're getting all the pieces of the puzzle that make the outside, but we have to take all of that and make the actual full puzzle. Because that's
an amazing analogy. I love it.
Yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, you're right. All we're getting is like these bits and pieces of information and thoughts and ideas and sounds and visuals. And it's our job as the interpreter to be like, I think this is what this means. I think this is what this means. So sometimes, and this happens a lot, where we'll get something and we'll just say it, and it doesn't resonate with the sitter, but that's only because we interpreted it in a different way.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means the way we received the information was correct, but the way we brought it out, it's got switched up in the mix. But usually, with me, especially when that happens, the sitter just basically kind of knows what that message is supposed to be for. So, yes. That's definitely something I wanted to point out.
So this past weekend, I did a party. And, but I didn't do like group readings. I did individual private readings. And then they went upstairs and kind of talked about it while I was with other people. Mm-hmm. And I did this one reading that, I got the no kind of thing. And I kept telling her his left leg, something was wrong with his left leg. Cause I kept rubbing my left leg, and I'm like, it's like difficulty walking. I don't know if he's walking with a limp or it hurts or something, but there was something wrong with that left leg. And she's like, nope. And then, there were a couple more things, and she was like, nope. And I said, well, he's opening his wallet and he's showing me that there's no money in his wallet, and he wants money in his wallet. And she just kind of looked at me with this look on her face, and I got more no. And then she went upstairs, and they were all talking about, oh, she said this, she said that, whatever. And everybody's like, oh my God. They were all crying and talking about their messages. And then all of a sudden she said, oh my God, he was slumped over in his wheelchair to the left. Well, obviously, if he's in a wheelchair, he can't walk. He had difficulty walking, and he was leaned over to the left side. His wallet, everybody put $5 in his wallet and buried it with him because he was always asking people for money. So the messages were different. Like, how would I know he had an empty wallet and wanted money?
Right.
So those were really, I think for me, really great. But hearing the no, I was like, oh, am I with the wrong person? But I wasn't. I was with the right person. She just wasn't. She wasn't hearing what she wanted to hear. She was hearing what she needed to hear. And sometimes we confuse those, and then we get it later. So,
right. That's why, like, I always say, like, I have my big spiel where it's like, it's the perfect cocktail between the sitter, the spirit, and the medium. And I need you to be open. You know what I mean? Allow yourself to be open, expand your consciousness as well, so we can have a beautiful reading together. Because sometimes I need a little help. I'm talking to a person that has passed over here. So, if I'm getting something and it's resonating with you, right? But that it's supposed to be something else, I need you to work with me. And that's what makes a beautiful mediumship reading, when it's all three of us working together in unison.
Absolutely. Like, I think people are so afraid that they're going to give us too much information, and we're not asking them to feed us information. We're just asking for validation. We're just asking for clarification.
Right.
Tell me, yes, this is making sense, or, a little bit of feedback during the reading is awesome.
Right.
It definitely makes the reading go a lot easier and a lot smoother, and,
right.
I don't know.
That's why I'm always like, I'm going to give you, and I always say, like, I'll give you a couple of pieces of, what I'm getting. Just say yes, no, or maybe. And, when I hear that maybe, I know that it's me. I need to kind of go back and see, like, well, maybe it meant this, or maybe it meant that. Because it's, like I said, it is literally like throwing a 1,000-piece puzzle in front of you, and we're trying to do this on our own. So we really need the help from the sitter. And I'm not saying, and like you said, it's like they don't want to give us too much. And I really do. I don't want you to give me much. But if I'm saying, oh, he's wearing a baseball cap or something along those lines, or, for me, when I see New York, the Yankee Stadium, that to me is an indication that the person is from the Bronx, Queens, around that area. Okay. So if I say, oh, you must be from, he must have been from the Bronx or Queens or, around that sort of area, and he was from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That all
still
to
New
me.
York.
Yeah, it's still New York. It's still, over there. He still had the accent. But, that is what, like I said, a beautiful, beautiful reading is when we are all open to spirit. It is not just the medium, it's the sitter as well, and, the spirit too. Definitely. Yeah. So, Syndi, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for talking about this, because I know it's definitely hard to talk about this. It really is, because unfortunately, this is still something that is, I don't want to say taboo, but it's still kind of like not spoken about as much as it should be, Yeah,
it's improving, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, we definitely do have a long way to go. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and all your ideas. And I will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Have a great day.